always switch my camera around.
He does.
Alright, so we're officially starting now.
Right.
So we're live. It's on Victoria Knows Best and it's on Randy. So Victoria, take the intro away again now with our name and everything.
So the new name we have is the Creative Weekly.
Yeah.
That's the new sauce. That's the new vibe.
Yes, and it's a podcast.
It's a podcast. It's a live podcast. So we go live and we host the podcast. There's a big ass camera at the front that's doing it so you can see it on YouTube. I'm Victoria. As you all know, I'm a digital content marketer. And this is my amazing co-host.
Yeah, hi. Sure.
Randy. So if you realize we're looking at like 3 different screens, we're just hype.
Yeah.
One screen wasn't enough for
we're
us.
ambitious.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So the new name, as we said, is the Creative Weekly. I'm Randy Richards. I'm a cinematographer, director, and a photographer. This is my lovely host, Victoria.
I'm a digital content marketer. And today's topic is, what's it, Randy?
Today's topic is Fresh Off the Block, a guide to getting started. So we're going to be talking about what do you need to know from our perspective and experience as a creative professional, a freelancer starting in the industry. A sort of, all right, if I was, what did I wish I knew back then 10 years ago when I was just starting.
Or what you actually need to know but you're not doing.
So we're just here to share our experiences on that. So a few other topics we're going to be talking about. We'll be talking about your portfolio and our reel, talking about website, video content, talking about social media use. We'll be talking about one specific book, and also we're talking about brand story. And this is a very interactive podcast live. As you know, it's live, so you can hop on either of ours and you can
ask a question. Let us know.
Use a little question marker. If you're not seeing the question marker, it probably means that you need to be following either of us to see it. So just make sure that you see that.
And if you want to DM us, if it's a question that you want to DM us and we'll answer it.
Yes, yes, we will save it. We're going to be saving it. Yeah. I'm going to add Victoria's handle here and the Creative Weekly, the handle, so you guys can see. So Victoria Knows, is it KNOWS?
Yeah, Knows Best is full on, and I'll add you, Randy.
And add the Creative Weekly. Yeah, I only see my face right now. So
Randy Ray? Yes.
Yeah, Randy. Weekly. Post. And then how do you pin it, guys? I've never pinned anything on this thing.
You hold it down.
Pin comment. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Alright, cool. So let's begin. So
thank you, Kalida.
So portfolio. So when you're starting out, one of the things that you need to have, in my opinion, is you need to have a portfolio to show the work that you do. Whether it is your Hialeah,
when you say portfolio, is it an online portfolio, and what should be in my portfolio? Alright,
well, I think it should be, you can have both, and I would recommend both. A physical one, so as a photographer, you could have maybe a little book that you print out with some of your select images that you can show face to face, because I believe there's a bigger impact when you have work that's tangible and people are seeing it. Oh, is my close enough? That's tangible when people can see that and feel it. It gives a bigger impact. And then for a broader, wider audience, that you can always send it to, a client, or when you're making cold calls or whatever. You have that online that you can send, and it could be, in this day and age, it could be an Instagram page that curates content. It could be a website, which we highly recommend having a website. It could be a PDF that you email directly to people. But having a portfolio, what in case you didn't carry something specific here? Virtual, Mr. Wilson just said that. Virtual, just in case you didn't carry something specific. That would be good too, because that can, not only does it show your work, but it also tells the client what kind of work it is that you're interested in doing. So if you know that you're a food photographer and you only do Caribbean foods, then your portfolio should say that. It should show the person that is looking that, all right, I'm looking for a food photographer.
It shouldn't have no wedding photography.
It shouldn't have no wedding photos. It shouldn't have no photo of baby. It shouldn't have, any of those kinds of things. You really want to just drive very straight to the point. Yeah, you could be a person that does multiple things, but you want to choose an angle and sell that. So having your portfolio or your reel as a videographer, or you have your show reel. As a director, you'll have a director's reel. As a DP, you have a DP's reel. As an editor, you'll have an editor reel. And you don't necessarily want to just cut random best scenes together. Sometimes just be inventive. Tell a story. You'll see different persons cut, and they'll cut together the audio to kind of string together this sort of narrative.
Creating a commercial for your own services.
Yeah, so you're creating a commercial just to sell your own service or work. So And of course, I would say definitely keep your portfolio up to date.
Work in progress.
Work in progress. As you grow and as your work changes and as the things that you do improve, you want to ensure that you're creating, you're putting in all that latest work and curating it as best, because you want to put your best foot forward. When clients, it's like your bless up escape, it's like your elevator pitch. You only have 30 seconds to show the best that you have, capture my attention.
And that also means probably putting the best of your work at the top of the folder.
Yeah.
So as you go in, you have the best work lined up at the top, and then the other ones down the bottom. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So many cameras. I'm looking at comments over here.
I've been getting your good sides. So don't worry.
Thank you very much.
Your good side. All right. So the next one will be website. As again a digital content marketer, somebody who helps to create websites and website copy, it's 2020. Your question shouldn't be, should I have a website? It should be, when are you going to get your website, right? Even if you're not selling products and you are a service, your website can also be your resume. Your website can also be your online portfolio, and your website is where people get you. And getting a domain name that's similar to your business name, domain names are very rare. And they have a whole lot of power because it's easy for search engine optimization, SEO. So get a website, and your website should be professional and it should reflect your brand. If you don't have, everybody has a brand. Everybody has a certain niche.
Yeah.
And again, it's almost like your website is your online portfolio. It should have your prices or the request for a quote.
Yeah.
It should have your information. It should have your background. It's a mini snippet. And when you have a website as a professional, people take you seriously. Point blank. It doesn't matter if you have 100,000 Instagram followers. If you don't have a website to bring people to, there's a lack of professionalism, right? So have a website, and you have Squarespace, you have Wix, you have Shopify, you have WordPress, you have free options, so you don't need to worry, you don't need to try and spend a lot. And it's just guiding it along. Shameless plug, I have a brand guide. So if you click the link in my bio, click the link in my bio, download your brand guide.
Essential.
We're using that brand guide for the Creative Weekly.
Bless up Caesar.
So do it.
Yeah.
Next, Randy, what's the next one?
So just before you move on from website, you mentioned, but I just want to kind of swing home the point. As you're starting out, you don't always necessarily have, the money to do. It's not like having a business card. You don't have the money necessarily to pay for $200 or $100 a year for a website. There are free options like Wix, and I think Victoria will know more of them, but I know that there are free options like Wix. Back in the day, I used to use Tumblr. You could create a Finsta that just hosts only your work, and you could show, and that you just push that to people.
And you have Behance.
Yeah, and you have Behance.
If you can't afford to buy a domain, just get a Behance portfolio. Get a LinkedIn. LinkedIn can also be your source for website. So you have alternatives. There's no excuse for not having an online portfolio for all of your good works.
Yeah.
No excuse.
Yeah. So cool. So video content. So I think that's probably the next best thing right now that I think any freelance or entrepreneur business person needs to have. You need to have video content on your page. Just a quick fact is that YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and 78% of persons will watch a video about a product or service before they purchase. So if you're not really having video on your platform right now to talk about yourself or what you do or what you sell, then you're really not there yet. You need video content, even if it's stuff like this, even if it's creating your live videos. It doesn't have to always be like super professional, because the way people engage with video nowadays is very social. So people it's very real life content. You can create anything right now, and you have a phone and you have internet, then you'd have no excuse not to be producing.
And don't wait until it's perfect.
Yeah, don't wait until it's perfect. Guys, we can't tell them we love wait until it's perfect. So now I speak to myself. But don't wait until it's perfect. I think this Wilson said that earlier, that like, what if he had said, what about showing work with flaws? Yes, and that will speak to the book actually that I'm going to talk about later. Show your work, show the process. People like to be married to an idea and an experience, and they like to grow with it. So you can come and present one big thing that you spent 10 years on, but then it was just one big thing that you spent 10 years on and nobody really knew about it. So people can't really relate to that and have the kind of journey idea to say, oh yeah, I was there when Randy started and this and that, and so when
them don't know.
So it's better for you to start and share your work as you go along. Share the little process. Maybe you don't want to share all your little secrets, but think about what kind of story you could tell. You're a jeweler and you're making the jewelry, and you're using the raw materials and the saw and the this and that. You're a photographer, you're behind the scenes, you take picture of the makeup artist doing work and look a video of you with your setup. Whatever the case is, you want to ensure that you share your story as your story develops, because at the end of the day, people work with people and they want to see you for who you are.
People buy people. Mm-hmm. People buy from people, not really products.
Yeah, when I buy from the machine.
Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah, so, yeah.
What's the next one?
Social media. Let's talk about
social media. Yes. For those, again, this is our 5th live. For those who are there, we talked about the glam behind the gram. If you're not saying anything on social media, people going to think nothing not going for you. Even if something is going on for you, you have to be posting. You have to be consistent. If you decide that you're going to post once a month, post once a month. If you decide that you're going to post 3 times for the week, post times 3 for the week. Again, shameless plug.
Yeah.
I have a social media strategy outline in my link.
Bless up True Natural, bless up Digital Jamaican. Yeah.
Right? In my link, if you guys want to join that, use it, but you have to be active on social media. And it's weird because different countries have different cultural aspects towards social media. For us here in Jamaica, it's Instagram. Instagram dominates most of everything. A lot of companies are going to look on your following on your page. Even when people hire you, sometimes they'll ask you if you have an Instagram page for your work. But in the States, in the US, North America, people normally check your LinkedIn. So if you're working with people from overseas, you have to have your LinkedIn profile up to date, active on it. And for, I think, South America, I know a lot of them is really Facebook and LinkedIn together. So, and they ask for your personal profile because they want to see it. So depending where you are or the client that you're working for, you have to be active on certain socials.
Somebody asking how much for it. What is it asking for?
Oh, how much for what? Sorry. How much for what?
Yeah, guys, while we're here, remember, hi Cynthia. Ask questions. If you have any questions to ask, feel free to drop us. We're going to spend the next 20 minutes after we're finished just answering questions.
10 minutes.
So 10 minutes. 10 minutes, not 20, guys. And it's about, we're talking about getting started. We're talking about being fresh off the block, out the gate, what you need to know as a young creative entrepreneur, freelancer. We're sharing anything that we do know. So if it's about finance, even if it's not topics that we've talked about, feel free to drop a question in a question mark or in the comments. We'll scroll through and try to find it.
And we'll go through. So for social media, again, you don't need to be, a lot of people think when it comes to social media, they need to be on all the platforms. Again, that's why I started out by saying based on where you're located, you focus on at least the minimum 2 social media platforms to put all the thing in your bio. Click the link in my bio, Victoria Knows Best. When you click it, you're going to see a tab that says free resources. You're going to see the option for a brand guide, social media strategy, and marketing campaign. Free of cost. Go and get it. Get your life in order. It's quarantine time. You have time.
Now, sit here. We don't have 10 minutes left. We go until about 2 for hour, 45 minutes, but we usually end up going for an hour. So you can still ask questions. Caesar has a question, but finish on the topic point.
So that's it. So having that in order. And again, Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social, Planly, Preview. These are a few apps that that have free accounts that you can invest in, and you can schedule your social media posts ahead of time. And most of them have auto posting. So once you start,
I'm using my mic.
Once you connect your Facebook and your Instagram to that account, it will automatically post for you. So you don't need to be constantly, we need to post today, or we need to do this. You can add your hashtags, you can add your captions, you can add location, you can add tags as well to certain accounts, and you'll go in so you can manage it. For me, I think I've told you before. I post 6 days for the week every month. I sit down 1 day out of the month and I create content for the entire month, and I schedule everything in 1 day. And that's it. The only time I check in with my social media is just to check comments. That's it. Simple. And I use Hootsuite. Simple.
I need to get onto that. Sorry, let's read a couple of comments before comments.
Sure.
Cynthia said, I think I made the mistake before. I tried to be active on all social media, but I am so bad with Twitter. I mean, yeah, I think we all made that mistake because there's a time when I tried to jump on everything and then I had to be like closing accounts because there's just random accounts everywhere. But I mean, you just have to decide where, based on what you're doing and what you're selling and what kind of work you're doing. Because for some artists, they'll probably go on, what's the name of that one? Deviant Art back in the day.
Yeah,
Deviant Art was a big thing as an artist or upcoming artist back in the day. As a musician, SoundCloud, people jump on SoundCloud for independent artists. You know, so you have to find the platform that
the
works
minimum
best
two.
for you. The minimum two. Instagram by default because that's where a large audience is. If you have an Instagram page, then I don't see why you shouldn't have a Facebook page because you can cross-share content. And then from there you choose the next platform. Twitter is like information highway, so if you Twitter for me, I just kind of dip in and out when it's just purely for personal, not for business, because
I'm not a Twitter person at all.
Yeah, so you have to kind of choose.
Pick your battles.
Cynthia said Planoly for Instagram is the bomb.
Yeah,
you know Planoly?
Planoly is amazing. I use Planoly. Planoly is a great. They also now have a feature where you can actually schedule your Instagram stories. FYI. And your Pinterest. So, sorry, nerding out on marketing content.
Let me answer Caesar's question. Yeah. How important it is having the best gear. Alright, in my opinion, just overall, no matter even this, I'm a director filmmaker, so can talk about camera equipment, but just generally I feel like buy the gear that you can afford. Just I wouldn't say put yourself in a hole right now, because at the end of the day, it's your service and your product what people buy for. You could have a 5D Mark II, like a cell phone, you could have whatever. If you're not doing the work and being creative and actually doing the work, then it doesn't matter what equipment you have. You can have a red camera, or you can have 40 US
dollars. Sometimes some people have really good equipment and they're still shit.
And I can tell you, they say no video come out of Jamaica, we shoot with red and them look like shit. So it don't really matter. The equipment doesn't matter to an extent if you're not doing the work that you need to do. You could get all the fanciest markers and pencil. So I would say start by investing in what you can afford and learn the techniques that you need to know to get the best out of the equipment. So that the limiting factor is not just the tools you have. The limiting factor is not your creativity, but then at that point the tools that you do have.
And then you start growing.
You start growing, because as people notice your work, even if you shoot, in video terms, 8-bit footage, 1080p, it don't matter. People will see the work because there are lots of back when 5D just came out. There are scenes in certain movies that were shot with 5D Mark II, and nowadays people wouldn't not very necessarily accept that because it's 1080p and the bitrate is low. So, technical stuff. But
technical stuff. So I think Klieon said, not a fan of scheduling apps, but if you're busy, then give it a go, which is true.
Yeah.
I'm busy, and I personally, as a digital marketer, I don't like to stay on social media so long. So I do scheduling apps so I can just go in, go out, and that's it. All right, what's the next point?
So we'll take questions after. All right, the next point is the books. I have a book, and I picked it up. 1 second, I don't know where I put
Running, we have to get. In the meanwhile, guys, remember, our new series is called Creative Weekly. Every week we go live with a podcast and video to share our tips and tools to help you grow and be your amazing self. We're still coming up with a tag, so any suggestions taken. Again, give us the questions, let us know what's up. We're always going to be drinking wine at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because quarantine, and even after quarantine, self-care, and after self-care, self-care.
And wine is good for your heart.
And wine is good for your heart. And I'm there babbling because I'm waiting for Randy to find what he needs to find. So y'all don't know that we're a little bit unorganized today.
Oh, here it is.
Okay. Woo!
Sorry for sticking my one to the camera.
I was running out of shit to say. Like, wine can only go so far.
The book I want to talk about today is Show Your Work. Every week we'll have a book recommendation. And I'll be giving away a copy of this soon. I just need to wait to get here.
We will be giving away a copy of this.
Not this one. This one is mine.
A copy personally for you.
Yeah.
Shipped to you.
Oh, yeah,
You'll have it. Show Your Work. So we're gonna give away this book to you guys. Show Your Work. We'll post more on the Creative Weekly.
Yeah, on the page, so you
on
can
the page,
see that
Instagram.
to get this. But basically, so this is by one of my favorite authors, Klieon, and he has a number because Show Your Work is he got popular, I think, for Steal Like an Artist.
Steal Like an Artist.
But prior to that, he used to do this technique where it's kind of like this, where he picks up articles and then he blots out, I'll show them. He blots out different sections to make poems or stories. So he'll do that in a newspaper. So essentially, Show Your Works talks about what we were talking about earlier, what something that I'd mentioned about showing your flaws. You don't want to just kind of show only the finished thing. You want to invite people into the process to see what you're about and what makes you tick. People want to know why. The why is always the biggest part of why people, follow you. They, you work look good, but why do you do your work also? A lot of people are superficial too. So, it's a balance.
And one of the things that I find personally with creatives is that a lot of people create good work, but when you ask them to explain something, it's so hard to get a basic definition.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that not every definition can be simplified, but it shows that it's more about how pretty it looks than the actual purpose and the passion that's behind it. And famous people or people who are really successful, they can describe their work effortlessly and their why effortlessly. So Show Your Work, a great book to invest in. We're a book podcast. If you don't like books, you might let them know. Books are really good. Randy, why did you start reading books as a creative? Because not a lot of people our age read, for one, and then make it smaller. So a lot of creative people read.
Yeah.
Right? So why did you start reading books?
In all honesty, how can I subscribe to the podcast, Cynthia, before I answer, we're gonna have the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and where was the other place? Spotify. So over the weekend we'll have it up. It should be up by Monday, the video version as well as the audio version.
And we'll keep you guys updated in our stories and feed.
Yeah, so just follow the Creative Weekly. It's pinned right here. Follow Victoria Knows Best, and you guys will get all this
follow
content
Randy Ray,
here.
Guys.
Yeah. So the question again, you were saying.
So what was that moment where you realized you had to read book? Give me one main reason why you start reading.
Honest that reading. Sometimes I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks when I was younger. I used to read more. Nowadays I don't read as much, and I'm getting back into it now. But I feel like I have to give one reason. I read books because there's a lot of information in it that's just stored that you can. That's just timeless. It's timeless. The information is always timeless. I feel like the process that a person goes through to make a book, and make a book that is best-selling, that a lot of people can relate to, has to go through a lot of points that really are foundational. And I feel like at a vocabulary too. But yeah, it's timeless. So I feel, and also, tangible. I like having physical books because you can pass on a physical book to someone else. I don't like digital books for that purpose. You can't really pass any account because there are contract laws about that. Which if you read it end user.
That's why we're gonna give you guys a free physical a free physical book. Yeah. We'll show you how the person can win the book in our next live.
Yes.
So by then we probably might have 2 books. So stay tuned. So one was the fact that you wanted the information based on what was the stish that made this book best selling, and 2, you can pass on a physical book.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, 1, when you read a book, sorry. Sorry. So when you have multiple screens,
so let's look at yours.
When you read a book at the level that you are in the stage of your life, the perspective you get when you read it 5 years, 2 years, or another year, or even just 1 page afterwards, is so different. There are different things that get you, or different things you didn't notice. So it's like the book grows with you. It's the same book. You're a different person, but you see things from different perspectives. And 2, there are just some things you can't get outside of books. Whether it's an audiobook or a physical book, there are some things that are just like hidden in books, and you can only find them in books. Those are my 2 reasons.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's good.
What was the last one?
The last one is where's my book? Aha. The last one is brand story, talking about the brand story.
All right, I think we spoke about that. We spoke about the why behind your work. We spoke about, people don't buy necessarily the products, but they buy the person behind the products. They buy the work. And I also said, show the person behind the brand, because that's important. And sharing your brand story, again, sharing your brand story does not mean sharing your entire social life, sharing every single detail about you. That's not what it means. Again, I tell Randy, I'm a very private person. There are certain things I just keep to myself. So when I say it, this is the person who's saying, a private person who's saying. You can share certain aspects of your professional story that are important. You don't need to tell them your blood type. You don't need to tell them your horoscope. You don't need that. You just need to say why you started, why it's important to you, what you can do to help them. That's it. The who, what, where, why.
Yeah, and be honest. I mean, be honest about at the same time. You don't have to share everything, but don't spill a dishonest story that when somebody sees you in person, they're like, whoa, what's going on?
Be honest, because when there's truth to it, you can carry it on. So share your brand story, share it online, share it through your content, have it in your portfolio, and have it, sometimes, you might not be able to have that in your resume, but sprinkle a little bit in your resume.
Yeah.
Because people invest in that, because sometimes, remember, when people see your resume or see your work, that's before they actually meet you and have a conversation with you. So try and sprinkle it where you can. Again, this is why you should have a website. Because your brand story can be laid out in detail from start to finish. My brand story is on my website, how I started as an engineer student at UTech in construction. And now I do marketing because that's what I love and that's where I'm going. It was an expensive stepping stone, but a stepping stone nonetheless.
Good. Yeah, my brand story is, I'm very, people see a lot. I mean, if you follow me for the last X amount of years, you see that I share, sometimes I feel like I actually share less of my work and more of my lifestyle per se, and now I'm converting that over to sharing more of my work as I move into what I consider the next decade of the work that I want to produce. And from that perspective now, I'm working on producing, content that speaks to that. So even though, as Victoria said, even though I don't post every day, what I'm trying to do, cool. I'm a photographer, I'm a cinematographer, I'm a director. What are the things that I need to show that will communicate that best?
And tell people what you do.
And tell people what you do,
A lot of people
they spoke about that yesterday in Digital Jamaica.
We did. A lot of people have businesses and services, and you post and you think people get it because you're behind it, you already have information. Tell people what you have to do. Be a little bit shameless. Say, yo, I am a good or great cinematographer. I'm a great I'm a dedicated marketer. Tell people what you do in your captions. Tell people what you do in your videos. But don't take it for granted. People know you're a photographer, but what type of photographer are you? You're a writer. What type of writer are you?
You're an artist. What type of artist are you? You're a marketer. What do you market? What do you specialize in?
Exactly. Sometimes when you're not getting sales, it's because you're not opening your mouth and telling people who you are and what you want. I'm a digital marketer. I want your business. Boom.
There it is. Boom. All right, cool. So if there is one tip, I guess for both of us, one tip that you need to give, want to give to people about, getting started, something that you wish you knew back in the day, what would that tip be?
You go first.
I
feel like you have like...
I have a million. I always have a million tips.
I feel like you have
pick one. The one that came to my mind first is being organized. I think as you're getting started, you have a lot of things to do. If you're being organized, really, to me, will save you a lot of time. Whether it is just, for example, organizing the work that you do, you want to show you behind the scenes there. You sit down and you plan and you start, cool. I want to talk about this, I know I'm making patties. I want to talk about where I source the flour, because, what's important to me about the flour is that I use sustainable source flour from sustainable grown wheat in Jamaica, in Portland,
Tasty's Patty, if you'd like to sponsor us.
So you want to kind of think about what makes your service or product unique, and then be organized about how you tell that story. So organization will kind of encapsulate all of that. So that would be my one tip, and it will be short because we have a lot of comments and questions that I'm going to read through shortly.
My people are quiet, your people are very talkative.
I found a solution, by the way, to the audio problem that we can have both. I'll share it to you.
Okay, alright, cool, alright. So for me, it would be don't wait until it's perfect, just do it. Because the idea of success that I had in my head is completely different, completely different from what I'm experiencing now. Because I met all my goals, I just didn't meet it the way I thought it was, and I kept holding on to the idea that it has to be this way. But I got it in such the complete haywire. People always say, oh, the road to success is blah, blah, blah. And when you see it, you're like, yeah, whatever. But when you live it, you're like, oh, this is real. So don't wait until it's perfect, just do it. That's what I would say. And a lot of us procrastinate. A lot of people like to have, I'm a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. Like, I've been told by therapists that I am a perfectionist, and it's a very crippling thing because it can stop you from doing work and or you can use it to perfect your work along the way. So just do the work, just push it out, and you'll be good. Don't wait till it's perfect.
Don't wait till it's perfect,
Again,
guys.
like as you said, publish your work.
Show your work, guys.
Show your work.
Show your work. Show your work.
Even if it has it. So it's Q&A time?
Yeah, it's Q&A time. So for everybody...
I'm sorry, could you top me up?
Yes, I could top you up. You know, I thought you said you were going to have... She said she only going to have one glass.
Who told him to believe me?
I was a fool.
Alright, stop. Thank you. Plus, this is technically one glass, because I mean, we just had like a little. I'm justifying my alcoholism. Nobody judge me.
Somebody said it drunk in the middle of the day. You can't practice it now. Alright, cool. So guys, so we're in our question section. Just to
I have one
to go. You go ahead.
Yeah.
I wanted to go over quickly just what we did first.
Okay, no problem.
Alright, so just so everybody was here, anybody who jumped in, we're talking about fresh out the block. Our guide to getting started by Ben. I saw your question. I'll answer it the same way. I think we answered it already.
Yeah.
But yeah, fresh out the block. We talked about portfolio, on your reel. We talked about having a website. Talked about social media. We talked about the book, Show Your Work, which we're giving away a copy of this.
Talked about video content.
We talked about video content. And pretty much we're gonna go through the questions now. So we're gonna take on off of this.
I think Anicia asked, how do you get over the fear of your brand not taking off? You have to specify as in art. So if you started and you realize your brand is not taking off, it means there's something wrong with you. It's not necessarily the people who are reacting to it. So it means that you might have to take some more time refining your brand. Maybe your brand is a little bit too general and you need to find a more niched way to advocate it. But that's a surface answer I can give you because I don't know any more details.
Yeah. Okay,
so you can DM me and let me know the details and I can help you. You know, I love you.
So let me start from the lower side. Alright, let's see what perfection comes through practice.
Yes.
Yeah, Evan, definitely. Start now and figure it out on the way.
Yep.
That's true. Something that Randy used to ride bicycles. Yeah, I used to ride bikes a lot.
Why is that so random?
I do. It's a lot about me.
I guess that's your life story.
Yeah.
Bicycle
all creatives should write. Mr. Wilson says all creatives should write. It helps you flesh out your thoughts, not necessarily to polish, but just as a tool to better yourself.
It does.
Yeah, I agree, because sometimes I get very overwhelmed with a lot of thoughts and ideas that I have. And I mean, I have about a ton of notebooks, way too much. But it helps because when you kind of get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper, you can then visualize them. I am personally a very visual person, so I have to kind of see my thoughts to just kind of sort them.
And they're also good because when you've written a notebook, and sometimes when you're going through stuff, you go back and you see some of the stuff you used to write, and you're like, I used to be worried about this.
Yeah.
I used to think this wasn't good enough.
Yeah, you can see your growth.
Yeah, you can see your growth. You can see how far you've come. So definitely write it down, scribble it. Have a little pad where you just write down nonsense. But
the digital Jamaican says she hasn't started reading the book that you loaned her.
Oh yes, I loaned her a book called This Is Not Marketing. Don't worry, I plan to ask you about it in May. I normally give people 2 months when I lend them a book. And I think Larnell owes me a book called The Psychology of Dreams by Sigmund Freud.
Oh yeah, I read that book. That book
is
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that
book. But it's very hardcore though.
Yeah, like if you're not ready for that, don't read it.
It's hardcore.
It's pretty hardcore. So yeah. And somebody said you drunks. Keep up the good work to see where you're going and where you're coming from, Davian. Oh, bless up Davian. This our friend from a long time. I've been friends with him for maybe like 15 years. I don't know.
So nice.
Yeah, bless up Davian, man. Alright, cool. There are questions right in here, so let me take one of these questions.
My people are silent, so you can go ahead and
let's see. Jewel Robinson, if you're still here, Jewel, hi. She asked, how hard do you work? I believe I shouldn't sleep until I'm exhausted at the end of a day. You want me to take that or you want you to take that?
I don't mind taking it.
You can take this,
I think that a lot of our...
I got it first.
Okay. I think a lot of millennials, a lot of people in our age group think that burnout and hustling hard is like the thing. That's not it. You can work hard or you can work smart. So work smart. You working until you're not tired doesn't mean that you haven't been productive. It just means you're not tired. So make sure that whatever you're doing is working towards the goal. The 80-20 rule, that 20% of the work gives 80% of the results. So you don't have to wait until you're exhausted. It's just, are you doing something that's productive enough to get you to where you need to go? And if you're not exhausted or you're not experiencing burnout, guys, it doesn't mean you're not working hard. It just means you're human. Just use your time wisely. Enjoy, relax. You don't have to stress out and dead.
Yeah. And self-care, because at the end of the day, if without you, this thing can't continue. So take care of yourself. I mean, don't burn out yourself. It's better to pace it. It's not for the race is not for the swift, but for those who can endure. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. So take your time and manage. Do you have a question that's you?
I know Anicia said that I have a book called Compound Effect of How to Jumpstart Your Economy, Your Life, and Your Success, and that's a really good book. That's a good book.
Yeah. And Mr. Wilson says, if you practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. That's true.
That's very true.
And if you practice bad habits, you keep them. That's very true. Practice, so I'll rephrase that, practice doesn't make it perfect, it makes permanent. So practice the right things, not the wrong things.
The wrong thing.
Alright, so I think I have another question. Let's see. He left already, but let's take his question. Who does the current isolation situation affect a social industry such how does the current isolation situation affect a social industry such as photography or videography? It's as Ben said, it's a very social job.
Just stand up far and take pictures. I'm joking.
No.
joking.
No, there's really and truly there is no work. There's very little work to be done because no events are keeping. People are very picky about being about because productions need a lot of people. So you still have small jobs going on, very small, one and two jobs, but there's for majority there is nothing really going on for the industry. So people have to be kind of just waiting it out and trying to find very creative ways to get work done. Like for me, I'm looking at other sources of income that I can generate by a lens with extreme zoom, 400mm, or just use the time to hone in on other skills that you've wanted to do. So for example, starting a podcast. I've always wanted to start a podcast, and here we are.
You can also use the time to refresh your resume, to create your website that you need to create. You can use the time to start developing a platform, working on your online presence. You can use it to start reaching out, create a portfolio, reach out to companies outside of Jamaica, in the Caribbean, so you can get some of the jobs, fly over and work. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to expand. You've literally been given the time to sit down and figure out how you can be more amazing. And that's what Corona is about. Corona is an epidemic, yes, but it's also a time for when people who are really amazing to actually shine. So either you shine or you just get left behind.
Shine or get left behind. Cool. Alright, let's see what other questions if we have. 1 second. Already answered that. Alright, this one.
Is there another one?
Yeah, this one. Like how do you work from home? I mean, working from home means a lot of different things to different people, so there's no one specific answer. But your laptop on the table.
I don't know. I think probably like tips. Yeah. I've worked remotely most of my life. Just change your outfit, have work clothes, even if it's like sweatpants and shirt. Just have designated work clothes. So your work clothes is different from your pajamas. When you sit down in one space, don't work on your bed. Sit down in one space, so you know that when you sit down in that space, you're in the work mindset. And set a time and remember to take lunch and breaks like you would if you were in a normal office.
Yeah. Here we go. Alright, cool. Let's see if we have anything else in the comments. Tara Shakira said product photography. Yeah, you can do product photography.
Yep.
Because that's something that doesn't really need a lot of people.
You can take the product and tell them to come out of the room.
Tell them to go out of business. Jules asked you to repeat which book. You had mentioned the book?
Yes. The book was, I think I mentioned The Compound Effect of How to Jumpstart Your Economy, Your Life, and Success.
Okay, we'll probably post that maybe to the page. So follow the Creative Weekly, and we'll probably post it to the story.
Again, guys, follow the Creative Weekly on Instagram. It's there. Creative Weekly on Twitter. We're going to publish up some amazing content, and we're going to give away this amazing book next week. If you want to know how to win this and another book for free. Jamaican people love free things.
Yeah.
Follow.
Alright, cool. So I think that's it for us this week.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So this was just to wrap up again, guys.
Early.
Yeah, we are now. We have a podcast. We just recorded our first. So it'll be live on Monday. It's both video and audio. We'll have it posting the links on Monday to the Creative Weekly on Instagram, and then we'll be posting it to our YouTube channel, the Creative Weekly, which will also be showing. YouTube is the Creative WKLY. Not weekly, but the Instagram is the Creative Weekly, no acronyms or anything. Thank you guys for being here. Next week we'll be back to our same format. We'll have the split screen.
Yes.
Because I figured out a solution that won't cause us to have an echo.
Yes.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Mr. Eddie Data.
Thank
for
you,
being
guys.
here. Thank you for being here. Yeah, and let's keep this going. This is our 5th episode. We've got about 7 more episodes for this season, and we'll be walking through basically the whole just as a
as an entrepreneur, getting through your creative life and like business and work relationships, all the topics. If you guys have a topic that you want us to talk about, DM us and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we are signing off. I'm going to save this video. So yeah, man, bless up, Mr. Wilson. I will talk. Evan, bless up yourself.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.